last thing I expected us to find.
Oh yeah, me too.
I'm just going to try and call Aubrey quickly. Aubrey. Please, can you hear me, Aubrey? Just this once. Aubrey. Where did he go?
Straight ahead.
In front of us, okay? It looks like a youngster. And I'm surprised that it's all on its own here. There could be other pack members nearby. And oh, there they all are, or at least one other. Two others. Now, unbelievable that we drove past it, but you can see when they're lying down in the grass, very, very difficult to see. All you can see is a few ears. Alex, if you've got Candace's number, or anyone's there with it, if you can get a hold of her, just try and get Aubrey a message that there's wild dogs on Balanatis Road, with the junction of Impala Plains Road. Balanatis junction, Impala Plains, Impala Clearing. Copy. I cannot believe there's lots of them. Look at all of them, and if it wasn't just for that one standing up, we wouldn't have seen anything. Oh, sorry. Just stay here. Don't want to alarm them. And just a few moments ago, probably 15 minutes ago, I was chatting about wild dogs, saying we see them so seldomly here, and I wonder when the next time it will be that we see them, and I really did not expect it to be 20 minutes later. And thankfully that leopard track was on the road and caused us to turn around and drive back to this area. And what's been quite a tough morning in terms of game viewing has just swung around and become an absolute blessing to us, because these animals don't get seen very often by us or by many people who live and work here. So it looks like there's about 6 members in this pack, but I could be wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I can see, but I think there was a 6th that had its head up earlier. Yeah, there it looks like 6, possibly more. They must have come in from the western boundary that I was just talking about, where the leopard would have in all likelihood crossed, because there's been no sign of them. But that's good for us, because it means that they have been heading in an easterly direction in towards our property. So
start and end your day on safari.
So seldomly, there's very little we know, or very little I know, about the pack and exact makeup and ages of them. Well, Brent's going to be very happy, because it's his favourite animal, and actually on his first drive for WildEarth he got extremely lucky to have seen Wild Dog, and he's going to have a big smile on his face when I get back and tell him that this afternoon could mean the two of us chasing around after the wild dog. They really are exciting animals to follow when they are on the move, because they move at such high speeds and are also highly, highly successful in terms of the strike rates of bringing down prey. Doesn't look like they've had a successful morning today though, because their bellies are empty, it looks like. So not a good morning hunting for them, it appears. But that's good prospects for us this afternoon. Brian, just let me know if this interferes with... Okay. Well, even though it's very exciting prospects and great that we get to see this incredible animal, the wild dog, it comes down to the quality of the sighting story that I spoke about earlier on the drive, when we had those magnificent Inyala bulls walking past us in perfect sunlight, the one displaying his horns. This is the example of not the highest quality of the actual sighting. The quality of the subject is incredible, the wild dog itself, but when they are sleeping in long grass, there's a limit to how entertaining they can be for obvious reasons. I don't know anybody really that's entertaining when they're asleep, personally. So that is the battle we are up against now, but such good prospects for this afternoon, if we can find them again. There's always the risk that they get up and trot off in any which direction in between the game drives, but we'll hope that doesn't happen today. Copy that, Alex. Thank you very much. So we have made a plan to get a message to Aubrey to share this information with him. His guests are leaving this morning, and it would be wonderful for them to finish off this safari with seeing these animals. We actually had a brief introduction to his guest yesterday after the evening drive, and they told us they've had a great safari so far, not just here in the Sabi Sands, but in the Kruger National Park as well beforehand, and they've seen everything other than this animal that we are looking at now. So it really would be a magical way for them to finish off the safari. But the clock is ticking, because I know they've got a long way to go today, those guests, and we're planning on finishing their morning drive at 9 o'clock. We'll try Aubrey again. Aubrey. Aubrey. Now this afternoon, if these animals do head further north from here on that road we just came down, the herd of impala with the 3 males we are watching are going to get a considerable fright, and potentially 1 or 2 of them, it may mean the end of their careers here. But that is if only if the wild dogs do head north, and again, it's not every time they succeed, so the impala may get lucky, but that's something to bear in mind. There's some great potential prey nearby there that I know of, and like I said a little bit earlier, they really are such exciting animals to follow on the hunt because they move so quickly, so we've got to drive really quickly. A lot of lodges actually force you to wear your seatbelts on the game viewing vehicles when you start following wild dogs, because there's a chance, if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you could get catapulted or ejected out of the game viewer, which is the last thing you want. And I think it was with Jason who who was on camera a couple of months back. He's at university now, but a few months ago he was lucky enough to be part of the WildEarth team, and we got to share an incredible sighting of wild dogs chasing some impala. We had to hold on for dear life as we raced after them. I don't think we're going to need to put our seatbelts on today though, Brian, or this morning. But this evening we will be ready and tied down. So if you did have plans for later on today or earlier tomorrow morning, I guess depending on where you are in the world, but basically in 7 hours time you should try and clear your slots and sign up for the afternoon drive, because there's bound to be some action. We'll also have 2 vehicles out, which will, depending on how things work, it may be that we'll try and get 2 vehicles here to help from a viewing perspective, because when they are on the move it's difficult to film with just 1 vehicle. But the problem we are going to encounter is that the word that these animals are here will spread like wildfire, as it should, and therefore we may need to share the sighting with other vehicles, therefore limiting us to certainly 1 vehicle, and potentially even limiting us to being only able to be here for a certain time. I wonder where the leopard went, because look at all the impala. Oh, there's a whole bunch of impala that have just walked into this clearing. I just need to make space for these wild dogs to see them. What I'm going to potentially do, I just want to get to a spot where Brian can show you the impala in relation to where the wild dog are. And this should be able to do it here. So they are not far away, and these wild dog are going to see them. What will happen thereafter, I cannot tell you. But this is a scenario worth waiting for to see what unfolds. Because the impala are walking into view more towards this clearing. And when they do, let's get ready for some evasive action. I'll need to position the vehicle in a position that I think will be best for if a chase doesn't unfold. And we also don't want to impact in any way on what goes on. But it would be, I mean, the wild dogs are shorter than us. We're slightly elevated, which helps us to see the impala from here. But if they just lift up their heads, which as you can see they are not doing now, they would see them, and judging by their empty bellies, they are definitely going to run after them if they see them.
Come on.
I'm not sure.
Just need one to see them.
Oh no. Oh no. It's not, what more do you need? Wild dogs and impala in the same sighting. But when they don't know one another are there, it becomes problematic. But it's too soon to panic. They may raise their heads at any stage and see these impala. No, you must look around when you get up. Okay. That one had a flea or something. That's why it's shaking its head. But that's a very good flea. That's the flea that's going to help them to see the impala. You will thank yourself for that flea seeing you or biting you. Come on, just look down the hill there. Impala moving at quite a speed and are potentially out of view of the wild dog now. And they're just repositioning a couple of them as the shady spots drift into the sun. They will continue to move deeper into this vegetation and shelter. And the impala are basically gone out of sight. It's difficult for us to position where we could show you both the wild dogs and the impala. But that opportunity has disappeared. Which is fine. I enjoyed the excitement of the potential chase, and that's what it's about out here. You can't always have the events unfold as you would like them to, and that's life. But the fact that we've got these animals here on the property, and even managed to see the few brief glimpses that we have had, probably the best one thanks to the flea that got that one dog up and about and shaking its head. But we really hit the jackpot and finished off this morning's drive with an incredible stroke of fortune. But you're basically now looking at a big grassy screen. So we are going to continue. But before we do, it's clear morning after last night's rain, and there's a beautiful mountain range to our west that Brian can take you for a little whirlwind tour through. And it really is a great view that we have out here of the mountains in the distance. Clear blue skies. So at this stage, nothing to worry about weather-wise for this afternoon. And this is part of the Drakensberg mountain range, which stretches almost the whole way through South Africa, down to the south in Cape Town. Beautiful. Well, the wild dog say one last goodbye to the sleeping wild dog, and when you tune in for the afternoon drive, be ready to watch these animals showing us exactly what makes them one of the most successful hunters out here.